If you've ever heard of Lincoln High School in Seattle, you've probably heard the rumors about the West Wing, an old, forgotten hallway, a classroom locked for years, room 304. People say it's not just abandoned, it's a place where spirits never leave. The story begins when Lena Thompson, a newly transferred student, accidentally hears 3 knocks echoing from the West Wing. A knock that seems harmless, but it's an invitation, or, more accurately, a deadly warning. Decades ago, a student named Emily Carter disappeared from that room. She was never found. And now, Lena stands before the same door. At first, everything seems normal, but as she approaches, a chill seeps into her bones, and a long-haired figure appears in the window pane. No one can hear it, no one can see it, but the whispers from room 304 follow you. They pull you in, slowly, until there's no way out. The only question left is, would you dare enter a locked room that terrifies the entire city, where some who went in never returned, and where the remaining spirits wait for their next victim? Seattle, Washington. The October sky is gloomy, heavy gray clouds threatening to pour rain at any moment. Lena Thompson stands outside Lincoln High School's gates, gripping the straps of her backpack. She has just moved from Portland, another rainy city, but somehow Seattle feels different, colder, wetter, and quieter. The main building rises ahead, red brick, large glass doors, square windows lined neatly. But to the left, a separate old, grey building stands isolated, its entrance blocked with chains, windows coated in dusty grime. Lena pauses, staring. A cold wind whistles through the empty corridor, carrying a faint sound like fingernails scraping wood. Don't stare too long. A girl's voice calls beside her. Lena turns to see a blonde student with a blue backpack waiting to enter class. Why not? Lena asks. West Wing, the girl answers shortly, then lowers her voice. Room 304. That place isn't for newcomers. Lena frowns. Before she can ask more, the bell rings, and they both enter the main building. As Lena is led around by the homeroom teacher, she keeps glancing out the window toward the West Wing. That afternoon, after lunch in the cafeteria, Lena returns to class. Opening her new desk, she finds a folded scrap of paper, old and faintly musty, as if it had been hidden away for years. She unfolds it to see messy blue ink. If you hear knocks from 304, do not answer. Lena frowns, looking around. No one notices her. At the back of the room, Mia, the blonde girl from earlier, sits engrossed in a book, but the corner of her mouth twitches upward slightly. All afternoon, those words echo in Lena's mind. By the time school ends, rain begins to pour. Heavy drops hammer the glass roof of the hallway like a drum. Lena stands in a corner of the courtyard, glancing once more at the West Wing. The grey wooden door of room 304 remains shut and silent, but she feels as though someone is standing just inside, watching. Thursday afternoon, rain pours relentlessly from morning. The entire Lincoln campus is shrouded in a thin mist. Lena is assigned to monitor the hall with 2 classmates, but by the end of the hour, both have left early. Lena is alone in the long corridor. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead. Rain pounds the metal roof rhythmically. Lena sweeps from the new classrooms toward the old stairs leading to the West Wing. Few people ever use this path. Walls are stained, tiles cracked. The air colder than in the main building. The closer she gets to the West Wing, the colder her back becomes. She slows her steps, eyeing the old wooden doors, all locked and dusty. At the end of the hall room, 304, appears grey wooden door, tarnished brass number plate. The rusty lock is still secure. Lena stops and peers through the small glass window. Inside, darkness shrouds the tables and chairs, all layered with thin dust. Suddenly, 3 knocks echo, sharp, decisive. Lena jumps, her heart racing. Before she can react, a faint, trembling female voice drifts from inside. Open the door for me, it's so cold. Lena swallows hard. The voice is shaky, almost a whisper right by her ear. Though she stands a step away, instinct urges her to turn and run, but the words slip out before she can stop them. Who's there? At that moment, the fluorescent light above flickers and dies. The hallway plunges into dense darkness. Space seems to shrink. Lena hears, breathing, close, icy enough to sting her ears. A damp sensation brushes her shoulder, like a hand brushing past. She steps back, hitting a broom that falls to the floor. Metal clatters loudly in the eerie silence. Then, a soft, drawn-out screech. comes from the door crack. Trembling, Lena spins to run, and the lights snap back on. The hallway is empty. Only the sound of rain remains. Lena breathes heavily, her heart still racing. She drops the broom and hurries out of the West Wing. In the brief glance back, the window of room 304 remains dark, but she thinks she sees a shadow standing just inside, perfectly still. The next morning, Lena walked into class to find a warm paper cup of coffee waiting on her desk. Beside it lay a small handwritten note. "We need to talk. Meet me in the library after school, Noah." She didn't know who Noah was, but curiosity made her agree. That afternoon, the school library was nearly empty. Lena searched for a moment and spotted a tall, thin boy with messy black hair sitting at a corner table. When he saw her, he nodded slightly and gestured to the seat opposite. "I'm Noah. I heard you were near the West Wing yesterday." His voice was calm and measured. Lena hesitated, then sat down. "Who told you that?" she asked. Noah opened his bag and pulled out an old document bundle wrapped in plastic. "I've been keeping track of everything that happens in the West Wing. I'm in the journalism club, but this has never been officially published. You know Emily Carter?" Lena shook her head. "Emily studied here 10 years ago. She died in room 304 on a rainy afternoon just like yesterday. Police ruled it a suicide, but there were too many strange details." Noah pulled out a faded photograph. In it, Emily stands beside a desk, smiling at the camera. But in the window pane, behind her, a long-haired figure faces the classroom. Its features are unclear, only rain dripping from its hair onto its shoulders. "This photo was taken the day she died," Noah said. The photographer didn't notice the figure until the photo was developed and then he disappeared. Lena held the photo, palms damp with sweat. She remembered the faint, trembling voice from yesterday. "You mean Emily is still there?" Noah looked straight into her eyes. "Not just Emily. Many students vanished near that room. All were last seen in or around the West Wing, and all heard the 3 knocks." Lena set the photo down, a chill running down her spine. Noah leaned closer. "If you hear the knocks, never answer. That's how it all begins." Outside, a sudden downpour hammered against the library windows. Lena turned to look, and through the cascading water, she thought she saw a long figure standing in the courtyard. Rumors about Lena approaching room 304 spread quickly. During break, 3 boys from the sports club approached her. The leader, Kyle, tall with short hair, wore a half-smile, teasing and challenging. "I heard you're brave," Kyle said, leaning on her desk. "We're live streaming in the West Wing tonight. Want to prove you're not scared? Come with us." Lena started to refuse, but Mia interjected, her voice dripping sarcasm. "Or are you really scared?" Her words made Lena hesitate. In the end, she agreed, though her heart felt heavy. That night, the schoolyard was dark, lit only by the pale yellow streetlights filtering through the fence. Kyle's group carried phones on gimbals, live streaming as they entered the West Wing. Corridor. A cold wave hit as they stepped through the old door. Footsteps echoed on the tiled floor. Kyle laughed loudly, pointing to room 304. "There it is, our school legend." He pressed his ear to the door and knocked 3 times, teasing. "Emily, open the door for us." The group laughed. Lena stepped back, heart racing. Kyle's phone camera pointed at the window pane. On the screen, a long-haired figure stood inside, face hidden by wet strands. Kyle didn't notice it, but comments flooded the live stream viewers, warning them. 3 knocks answered from within, matching Kyle's rhythm. A cold gust rattled the phone's light. Kyle looked around, forcing a laugh. Just the wind, probably. Suddenly, the knocking turned into scraping, harsh and urgent. The door shook slightly. The camera swung to Lena. Through the crack, she saw a pale hand pressed against the wood, long nails dripping water onto the floor. Kyle stepped back, but another boy, Ryan, moved closer, pressing the lens to the door. As he leaned in, the long-haired figure lifted its head, revealing a ghostly white face, hollow eyes, mouth stretched into a black void. The phone slipped from his hands, image shaking before plunging into darkness. The live stream ended instantly. The next morning, Ryan didn't show up for school. Police later found his bike abandoned near the forest behind the school, no other trace. That night, lying in bed, Lena could still hear the 3 knocks, clear as if they were right outside her door. A week after Ryan's disappearance, no one dared speak of the West Wing aloud. Yet Lena often dreamed of room 304. In her dreams, she stood amid dusty desks, and in the corner, Emily sat with her back to her, wet hair swaying gently. On Friday afternoon, Lena was assigned to carry cleaning supplies to the storage room near the west wing. Heavy rain poured outside. The corridor was darker than usual. She walked slowly past the old doors, trying not to look at 304, but her gaze kept being drawn to the dusty window pane. Something seemed to move inside. Lena froze, heart pounding. For a moment, she saw a figure standing by the last desk. Then, 3 knocks echoed from within, bouncing off the empty hall. She stepped back, but curiosity pushed her forward. She placed her hand on the doorknob. The door was ice cold. Just as she was about to step back, the lock clicked, as if someone inside turned it. The door cracked open. A blast of cold air hit her, carrying the smell of damp mold and metallic tamps. Without thinking, Lena pushed the door and stepped in. The room was dark, lit only by a faint sliver of light through the window. Desks and chairs were scattered, the floor blotched with water. Lena felt someone behind her. The door slammed shut with a thud that made her jump. She ran to pull it, but it didn't budge. The wind outside hissed, mingling with faint scratching on the floor. She spun, scanning the room. In the corner, a chair slowly turned, as if someone had just risen. Weak light revealed a pale hand. Gripping its edge, the familiar voice whispered, almost at her ear, "I see you." The sound mingled with dripping water. Lena pressed against the door, heart racing. The room seemed to shrink, darkness thickening. From behind the teacher's desk, the long-haired figure began to move forward, slow and heavy. Water streamed from its hair, leaving dark streaks across the floor. When it was just a few steps away, the back door suddenly swung open. Lena bolted, tumbling into the hallway. She glanced back. The door was closed, as if it had never been opened. No water stains remained on the floor. All that night, something appeared in Lena's backpack that she was certain she hadn't placed there herself. An old, soaked school uniform, folded neatly atop her books. Since that day, Lena could focus on nothing. In class, her eyes always drifted toward the window leading to the West Wing hallway. Whenever she closed her eyes, the image of wet hair and pale hands returned. She began researching Emily, the name. Everyone whispered, quickly and quietly. The school library offered little information, but in an old yearbook, Lena found a class photo from 1989. In the back row on the right, a long-haired, black-haired girl smiled faintly, her gaze seeming to look directly at Lena. Below the photo was written, Emily Carter. Lena brought the photo to her room and placed it on her desk. That night, she stayed awake, staring at it under the desk lamp. At midnight, a small streak of water appeared on the photo, running from Emily's hair down the frame. Lena wiped it, but her fingers met a cold, damp sensation as if touching real hair. The next day, Lena asked a few older teachers. An English teacher looked around before answering. She said Emily had been an excellent student but was discovered to be pregnant, leading to social rejection and leaving school mid-term. A month later, she was found in room 304, dead by hanging. From then on, the room was permanently locked. In the following nights, Lena repeatedly dreamt she sat at the last desk in room 304, while Emily sat at the teacher's desk, back turned, murmuring something. Each time Lena tried to listen, 3 knocks echoed, waking her. She began keeping a journal, recording dreams, accidental footsteps, and dripping sounds in the hallway. But the more she wrote, the stranger events became. Once, the words "stay with me" appeared in the journal, wet and smudged. Lena didn't remember writing them. Mia noticed her friends change, but Lena avoided answering questions. Deep down, she felt an invisible thread pulling her toward room 304, stronger each day. Whenever she was away from the West Wing, her heart raced, as if something called her back. Then, one rainy night, Lena heard the 3 knocks clearly outside the dorm room door. The knocks were slow, deliberate, and even Lena sat frozen on her bed, heart pounding. The room was dark, lit only by her laptop screen. Mia had gone home for the weekend, leaving Lena alone. She stepped off the bed, tiptoeing to the door. Number 1 answered when she asked who it was, but as Lena touched the doorknob, a blast of cold air swept through, making her hairs stand on end. She turned the knob, opened the door, and saw an empty hallway. Rainwater still fell outside the window, at the end of the corridor, reflecting the pale yellow light. When Lena turned back, her heart sank. On the desk appeared an object that had definitely not been there before. An old dark brown leather notebook, rusted lock intact. Embossed on the cover was the name Emily Carter. Lena's hands trembled as she opened it. The first page contained neat handwriting. Day 1, they wouldn't listen. Day 2, they abandoned me. Day 3, I will go nowhere. The following pages were filled with fragmented diary entries, smeared ink as if wet. The more Lena read, the more she felt a soft breath on the back of her neck. She spun around, but no one was there. Suddenly, the mirror on her desk reflected a figure behind her, long black hair, soaked white uniform. Lena turned, quickly empty room. But in the mirror, the figure remained, inching closer, deep black eyes staring straight at her. The desk lamp flickered, then went out. In the darkness, Lena heard slow footsteps approaching, water dripping rhythmically. Onto the floor, she pressed herself against the wall, clutching the notebook. A freezing hand touched her shoulder. A soft voice whispered into her ear, "Now you can't go anywhere." When the light returned, Lena stood alone in the room. Wet footprints led from the door to where she stood, then disappeared. After that night, Lena could no longer distinguish dream from reality. Sitting in class, she suddenly realized she was in the West Wing hallway, holding Emily's notebook. Upon waking, she was back at her desk, but the damp, cold sensation from the dream lingered. She began losing sleep. Each time she closed her eyes, Lena saw herself slowly stepping toward room 304. Emily's hand always reached through the crack, beckoning, while a voice whispered incomprehensible words in her ear. Her body felt controlled, unable to stop. On the third day, friends found Lena standing before the West Wing at 3 a.m., wearing pajamas, barefoot, soaked in rain. She had no memory of leaving the dorm. Mia tried to persuade her to take a few days off and go home, but Lena refused. She felt if she left, something would come for her and pull her back worse. A strange compulsion rose within her. She had to uncover Emily's full story, even if it meant entering room 304. Emily's notebook began to change. First, the handwriting shifted. Then scribbled drawings appeared, depicting the classroom, desks, windows, and a figure hanging mid-air. On the final page, new words were written in red ink. "Tomorrow, we will meet." That night, the 3 knocks came repeatedly from the West Wing, even as the storm raged outside. Unable to resist, Lena grabbed a flashlight, tucked the notebook into her jacket, and left her room. Near the West Wing, she realized all locks were open. The long corridor was dark, water dripping from the ceiling in streaks across the floor. Room 304's door was ajar, faint pale blue light glowing inside. Her footsteps echoed on the tiles, slowing as she approached the threshold. A figure stood inside, back turned, hair covering its face, uniform soaked and clinging. The familiar voice spoke, clearer this time. "Come in, Lena." She stepped over the threshold. The air was thick with mold and rust. The pale blue light, source unknown, made everything appear submerged. Dust-covered desks surrounded her, and in the center of the room, a rope hung, the end twisted slightly, swaying. The door behind Lena clicked shut. She turned, but no doorknob was there, only a cracked old wall. The sensation of being trapped overwhelmed her. Emily remained in the corner. Back to Lena, long black hair clung wetly, droplets forming dark rings on the floor. Lena tried to step back, but her feet would not obey. Each step closer made her heart race, not from fear, but a strange force pulling her forward. Emily slowly turned. Deep black eyes, no whites, fixed on Lena. A thin smile revealed grey teeth. Her voice echoed across the room, lips barely moving. "You've arrived." The room suddenly changed. Desks vanished. The floor became icy water. Lena stood in an endless space, surrounded by dozens of whispering voices. Shadowy figures emerged beneath the water, eyes wide, mouths open, silent. Emily stepped closer, cold hand on Lena's cheek. "No one will abandon you here anymore." The rope descended from above, lightly wrapping around Lena's neck. She struggled, but her hands were held fast. The air thickened, her breath shallow. Suddenly, thunder cracked, and in a flash of lightning, Lena saw herself back in a normal classroom, but without any doors. Only Emily, the rope, and shadows creeping from the corners, swallowing everything. The darkness in room 304 swallowed all light. Lena felt weightless, as if the floor beneath her had vanished. Whispers swirled around her, overlapping in a chaotic chorus. Yet through it all, Emily's voice remained clear and intimate. "Just one more step, and you'll never have to go back there." The rope slid around Lena's neck, but instead of pain, she felt a strange warmth, as if someone was holding her. Memories of school days, pressures, loneliness, and anxiety faded, replaced by a deadly calm. The pale blue light beneath her flared, revealing dozens of faces staring up from the water below. All wore old uniforms, their skin pale, eyes hollow. They reached toward Lena, beckoning her to join them. Emily stepped back, treading across the water without creating ripples. "They understand you. Here, no one judges, no one abandons, only us." She extended her hand, waiting for Lena to take it. For a moment, Lena wanted to turn away, to escape. But when she looked into those deep black eyes, all resistance melted. She stepped toward Emily, her feet sinking into the icy water. The whispers around her became a mournful chorus. When Lena's hand touched Emily's, the room shook violently. A dry, sharp crack echoed, and the light vanished. The next morning, Mia returned to the dorm to find Lena missing. The door was locked from the inside. When forced open, the room was completely empty except for an old dark brown notebook on the desk. The last page, in shaky handwriting, read, "Day 1, they wouldn't listen. Day 2, they abandoned me. Day 3, I will go nowhere. Day 4, Lena is here." Report from Lincoln High School Administration, Seattle, Washington, in November 12th. After Lena Thompson disappeared, the administration sealed off the entire West Wing. Room 304's entrance was locked permanently. Maintenance staff and teachers confirmed no sign of forced entry or any object inside, except for the old dark brown notebook. Students and teachers described strange phenomena near the West Wing. 3 knocks echoed at unusual hours when no one was in the hall. Shadows of a long-haired female student appeared in the window of the locked room, even though security cameras recorded nothing. Some students reported seeing small rivulets of water running from the floor up the walls, disappearing when approached. Testimony of Mia Harper, Lena's classmate. "I can still hear those knocks on rainy nights. Every time I stand near room 304, my heart races, even though I know no one is inside." Lena said she felt like someone was calling her, and the last time I saw her, she was moving toward the door with a blank stare. "I'll never forget that feeling." Journal of the school newspaper club. Noah Bennett, Lena Thompson, and Emily Carter have now become part of the West Wing. "I've looked at the notebook and seen new lines appear each day. Even when no one touches it, no one dares enter that room, but anyone walking past hears the knocks, a reminder that they are still here. The room is not just Emily's memory, it holds the souls of those who never returned." Room 304 remains locked. All attempts to break or repair the lock are futile. New students are warned to stay away from the West Wing. Yet on rainy nights, the 3 knocks echo steadily, drawing those who hear them toward the locked door, as if the curse has never lifted.
Thank you for following.